So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers around the globe. And thank you once again for joining us on an intimate conversation. And today's guest is Jenny Phelan.
Hi.
Well, welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
So much fun. I've been really looking forward to this. Excuse me. And as everything is, it's always timing, and this is just feels right timing, eh?
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
finally moving out of the fear phase and, stepping into the other side.
I know it takes a bit of doing though, but you're fantastic. And anyway, we'll get on. I'll just introduce you. And
Yeah.
for those who don't know you, and now I've just lost that. Where did that go? And here we go. And then we can have a chat.
Yes.
So Jenny's journey of awakening happened in the 90s, reading lots of self-help books. At the end of 2010, a synchrinistic event opened the door to meeting Mandy again and doing her development classes, which led me to channeled writings and messages coming through from a higher source. We moved back to Australia in 2017, and I have continued to write and do readings to help those who need guidance through messages of healing. I just, you absolutely do wonderful channels, Jenny.
Thank you.
Um, and, I can imagine, I haven't had a reading with you, but I can imagine your readings and how,
What do you need a reading with me for, Mandy?
well, you send me cards and things. You
I
do
do. I
some
actually do.
cards for me and they're always spot on.
Yeah.
And so, but I do know that you come from a very beautiful heart space. And I do giggle when I think back to our
Oh,
development classes and
look.
honestly the fun.
You would not see me sitting here today. Like, I remember when we did that first class. Oh my God. I was just like, when you said, okay, everybody go around the room and introduce yourselves, I went, is this when the floor opens and I can just like fall through the floor? Because it was like putting the spotlight on me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the spotlight on me. I mean, I was such a shy girl. I mean, I was just such a shy girl from way, way back.
Yeah,
So yeah. But
absolutely.
anyway, yeah.
I know, Jenny, and it does take a lot of courage, eh? Like you really have to face fears to get to where, like now you're doing readings for people and you're, bringing that wisdom through. And it takes a lot of courage.
And a lot of work too. I've done a lot of work
Totally.
on myself. I mean, I remember like I was born in New Zealand and my family moved at the age when I was 14 in 1979. Dad decided we're going to Australia because he got a job over here. And so I've been living over here for about 45 years or so. But our life just got busy.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about any spiritual stuff. We were just busy. You got married, you had the kids. And probably in the middle of the 90s, like my boys were, Ryan was born 91, Nick was born 93. And I remember Glenn's sister came and she gave us this book because Glenn was doing houses. You know how he was, Glenn, a million miles an hour, running like a crazy man. And so we had farms and we had, he was trying to do houses as well. And, he bought these cheap houses and he'd do them up. And because he read this book, his sister bought him this book, that's right. And it was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And she also had a book which was Conversations with God. And she said, you've got to read both of them. And Glenn goes, oh, I'm not reading Conversations with God. And I was just an avid reader. I was a reader from way back. I used to read as a kid all the time. So I thought, oh, I'll read that book. And so I read the book. As soon as I read that book, something sparked inside me. When you get that resonance?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, where's another book to read? So because we lived like 130 k's, we were living down in Victoria at that stage because we were on a farm. And we would have to drive down to Melbourne. We'd drive down to Melbourne, we'd buy like $200 worth of books, and I'd just come back and devour these books. But because we're in the country, there was nobody to talk to about stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so anyway, I just kept reading books, and like life was busy, Mandy. It was just crazy. Working, farms, kids. It was like, so I didn't have any you know, I've listened to some of your other ones with people and they go, oh, you know, when did you get, you know, when did spirit come in, you know, into your life sort of thing? And people are saying all these amazing things. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that didn't happen to me. But it was weird because we ended up, you know, 2000, well, actually, we took our kids on a overseas trip for 12 months. Well, and
You did.
I know.
Amazing.
That was amazing because that our boys just grew through that. That was 2005, 2006. My dad
Yeah.
died in 2001. And it's sort of, I've always been sort of, I suppose, a little bit poetic. I always love,
Mhm.
you know, reading and writing and all that sort of stuff, even as a kid. And you always used to say to Glenn things like, because I always just thought, you know, it's just so simple. It's like, why don't people just get along with people? That's what this world is about. I've always looked at life like
Yeah.
that. And then when I
Yeah.
look at my astrology, it's like that's sort of who I am. It's like I'm always in this philosophical phase, like thinking about life, you know. So anyway, I don't know. Sometimes I just go off on a tangent. I need to come back.
Good
Um,
one.
yeah. So anyway, we went overseas. We did the trip, and then the 2008 crash came. And we were building houses in the mines. But 3 years or 2 years before that, we'd actually come over to New Zealand because I was born there. And, you know, we used to go back and forwards a bit. And we had family, of course, there and friends and that sort of thing. And I remember going to the Spiritual Expo in Whangarei. I know people say Whangarei, but I always had it was Whangarei because that's what I, you know, learnt when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And we used to have a, you know, in Australia, we used to have readings with a lady called Mandy. And I thought, and I saw your, you know, your, when we walked in, I thought, oh, there's a synchrinistic thing. Oh, let's go and have a reading with this Mandy lady. I couldn't even really tell you what the reading was about, Mandy. I remember Glenn and I seeing you. I have no idea what it was. But that was when I first met you. And it was funny that Mandy, when I was thinking about that lady in Australia, I remember her saying to me once, she goes, you're going to do some higher learning. And I go, no. I said, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to university. And she goes, no, dear, higher learning, spiritual stuff. And I go, oh, okay, what's that? You know? So yes. And so then, of course, the 2008 crash comes. We're building houses in the mine in Western Australia. Everything goes kaput. And it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? And we had a block of flats in Whangarei. And we thought, right. So we packed up everything, shipped it all over. Glenn and I, the kids stayed back. And we ended up, in Whangarei. And then we bought this little house. You know, it was a little tiny one because Glenn was thinking, oh, well, we've got to do something. So we like bought this little house and we, you know, and I remember thinking, oh my God, our life is over. Everything bad has happened, you know. So it's like, oh, we need to reach out to that lady. I remember Mandy, couldn't remember the last name. I don't know how I found your number, whatever it was, but I remember ringing you and oh my God, you were living right behind us from this little house on Western Hills Drive. And there was only a driveway between us. And I remember ringing you and I think you must have said something like, oh, what, you know, what street are you in or something like, oh, I must have asked.
I had you on. I played a game with you because it was so, I was like, I'm sure those people, because your place was off my kitchen window. I'm watching
Yes, that's
in and
right.
out, in and out, in and out, doing up this house, and I'm like, I'm sure that's that couple from Australia. And we had really connected. Like the moment you sat
Yes,
down, there was
yes,
just this connection, and that was us.
yeah, yeah.
It's so beautiful. I love those. But anyway, and then you're there, and next minute you were ringing me, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna have you on. I'm gonna play the psychic. And so I said to you, as I was walking out, because I thought I'm going to go out and I'm going to stand in the alley, like
Yes,
where you could see me eventually. But
yeah.
in that time, I said to you, I said, yeah, I'm getting like, did you move into a place you've been doing it up, renovating? You go, yes. And I said, it's sort of like on by the main road. Yes. You know.
Yeah.
And then I said, and you've got is there a black ute or
I
something?
know,
Go,
I remember
oh my
that
God,
black.
yeah.
I know. I was like, oh my God, this lady really
I
did
know. And
stuff.
then I said, I have this feeling like you're meant to walk out your front door, go out your back door, and have a look out there. And here I was standing there on the phone, baby.
I
It
know
was
that
so
was,
good.
but see, isn't that amazing? Like that journey to get to that place.
Yes.
It just, sometimes I sit there and go, what the, you know, it's
I
like,
know,
how
eh?
does that
Totally
happen?
that.
And
Yeah.
it's sort of like, and so anyway, then were you doing your spiritual development classes or were you starting them again?
I was starting to, I was putting, yeah, I was still running the centres and I was
Yeah,
having group things,
yeah,
workshops more so. And then when I
yeah.
moved up the mountain, I started the
Yeah.
development
But
classes.
you were doing them at your place behind us because then it was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God. It was
Yeah.
like the door, the floodgates opened,
Yeah.
and I just moved in those circles. Like everybody, we moved, like there was another guy, we had a block of flats, and there was another guy that we know, Joe, I hope he doesn't mind saying his name. And anyway, I remember being at the flats and I got talking to Joe. He was looking after one of the people that was living in the flats. And he's a medium. And, he could see all the stuff and all these things and all these, situations happening. It was just like, oh my God, everybody. It was just like, yeah, it was like it was supposed to be. And yeah, for me, that was just like it was just unbelievable. It was,
Mm.
and things happening, not in that house. After we sold that house, we moved out to Riatahi. Oh, such
Yes.
a beautiful place. Oh my God, just stunning, looking at the water, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
weird things happened in that house. And I've never experienced stuff like that. If people had said to me, well, things happen like, we were sitting there one night and there was a bowl of fruit. It sounds weird if people are listening, but I suppose if people are listening are the ones sort of into this stuff, I suppose.
Exactly.
And these bananas, there's no way they could have fallen off the fruit. They were just thrown on the ground. And we were having these, Glenn went up onto the mountain, we came back, and then all of a sudden, all these books I had on a shelf, all my spiritual books, there's no way they could have fallen. They've been there forever, all on the ground. It's like, what the hell's going on? That man that owned that house, he was there. I remember ringing you going, I don't know what's going on, but, and you go, yep, I can see him. And so you came out and did your thing and sent him on his way, sort of thing. But yeah, he was still in that house. But
Mm.
stuff like that didn't happen. I didn't have any of that when I was a kid, you know.
No. It gets when it opens, it really gets full on. Like it
Yeah.
can be really full on. I went out to look at that house myself to rent, and I thought, oh, it's a bit
Did
far
you?
out. Yes, and then you guys took it, and I thought, I said to Bobby, they've gone that house that we were looking at.
Oh my God. Yeah, no,
I would
it's
have had to run
amazing.
Bobby in and out to school, high school, so I
Yeah,
didn't take it. But yeah,
yeah.
funny,
But yeah,
eh?
those classes were great, and we had such a great group of people. And
Yeah,
I remember, and it's just all part of like developing yourself, isn't it? And it's just practicing. That's all we've had to do is like, for me, it feels like everything I've had to practice. Like other people just like, boom. I remember one time standing there and we were like trying to see auras and stuff, and everyone's going, oh yeah, I can see it. And I'm going, I don't bloody see anything. And then someone said to me, squint your eyes a little bit. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. And
yeah,
it's interesting because when I started to really open myself up, my dad would come through. Well, I was talking to him. I started talking to him.
yeah,
And like, Dad always loved music. I love music. And anything that I'm going through, if I go, look, I don't know what's going on, Dad, if I'm having a big drama about something, and I'd talk to him, and all of a sudden a song would come through. And sometimes I'd look at the lyrics and I go, oh, he's trying to tell me that. I mean, there was a song, one time, I think I gave an example the other day. It was like, in my head about something. And then all of a sudden I hear Taylor Swift's song, Shake It Off, Shake It Off. And it's like, let it go, Jenny, let it go, And it's like, even today, there was a song came through. I was thinking of something and a song, it's just like, this is the connection. And
yeah,
sometimes, because, the writing for me, it was an automatic writing for me. And that came really easy to me. Like all the other students, were all like, oh, I'm seeing this or I'm getting that or whatever it is. But my
yes,
writing,
yeah,
as soon as I think one day we started doing one of, some automatic writing and it just flowed out for me. I wasn't sitting there going, oh, I don't know, because you're not thinking of what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to get. I just write it. And
that's
I've
right.
practiced it and developed it so much now that it just comes through really,
Yeah.
really easy.
There's no mental access. So, and
No.
you also used to get a lot of colors, and this is something that I teach with people too. You've
Yeah.
always been somebody who I was able to
Yeah.
use as teaching for others, was
Yeah.
that you always saw color.
Yeah.
And you would get frustrated. People are seeing people and things, and you're seeing
Yes.
color. And you would
Yes.
get so frustrated. Why do I not see it like they do? And I said, what is the color telling you? So
Yeah.
when you started reading the color, then you were
Yeah.
getting the message like they
Yeah.
might have been
Yeah.
getting similar. We
Yeah.
start seeing the
Yeah.
connections.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's it. Everybody's got to find their thing, don't they?
totally that. Yeah.
And I think, because as soon as that's, I mean, I could have sat at that school all day, every day. If we could, I was really sad when those classes ended. I'm like, oh no, I just love this stuff so much, you know?
Yeah.
And I find myself getting excited when I talk about it. It's just
It's
like,
like
oh,
that
no.
though, eh? It's passion.
You know what it is, Mandy? It's like I've just found myself,
Yeah.
you know? And I just had so much fear, like so much. I mean, God, you would have seen that in the class. It was just like, oh my God, I was just so fearful of everything, but just opening myself and believing in myself. See, it all comes back to the confidence, doesn't it?
It does,
You
definitely.
know?
And moving out from outside of us to inside of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Because it's the external, exterior stuff out there that we start programming, like it's already programmed, but we pay too much attention to that. What does
Yes.
that person think? If I was to say that, oh my God, no, they might
I
like,
know.
and it's just stops us from doing.
That was one of the biggest things for me, was having approval and being liked. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I've stepped over that threshold. It's been a big thing to step over, because, I was always that girl that did the right thing. And, dad was pretty strict, mum was a lot
Yeah.
softer, but dad was, quite strict. And now I think I've gone full circle. I think I've got more dad in me. I've become outspoken. I need to come back to center,
Yeah.
I think, I've just found myself, and I'm okay. Everybody's on their own journey, doing their own thing, and I'm okay with where I am and where everybody else is. We're all just doing what's coming naturally to us, I suppose. And
Absolutely. And you read at the market, eh? You go to
yes,
a market regularly
yes,
and do
Wednesdays and
that.
Saturdays, meeting amazing people, so many people going through so much change. It's unbelievable. They're all searching, they're coming in looking for something, and they know some people have really got their path, and they're going, this is what I'm doing. I had sorry to interrupt you.
Oh
Just what
no, that's exactly what I was going to ask you was what was the theme around everyone,
Yeah, well, a lot of
you know,
people, it's funny because often on the days you have the same thing, like people are getting the same cards, and it's weird sometimes when
yeah,
that happens. And then,
yeah.
a lot of people, the last week was everyone was out of balance. It's trying to bring ourselves back into balance. We're all out of balance. I had a lady the other day, and she goes, Jenny, I'm just at this mind-numbing job. I've been there for so long. I'm just dead to it. And she says, but I want to go and start cooking. I want to go into people's houses and
Oh,
help them, and, bring my cooking in, and, whether they're busy or someone's got dementia or whatever it is. And so you start seeing all these people who are thinking of things that they can do to help others, with
yes.
their business
Yeah.
now. And it seems to be that's where it's headed now. I mean, people are always helping people, I suppose, but that's what I'm seeing. It's like it's not about the money. It's not about, how much money I can make out of it. It's all about, this is going to really mean something to me. And you can just see it in them. But
Yeah.
it's like their cards are just telling them, go for it, go for it, go for it, because it's like that's the energy we're in at the moment, isn't it? It's like we're heading in a new direction. So,
Yeah. And it's building that new world, that one
yeah,
that's not based around money. It's around
that's
helping
right.
others and assisting
Yeah,
others, whatever
yeah,
way that is. And yes,
yeah.
monetize it. It's all
Yeah,
good.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
But it's
yeah,
more about that actual
yeah,
helping
yeah,
and assisting them.
yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and
There is a lot.
there's a lot of people that are going through big change. I mean, like I think I posted one on my Facebook the other day, and it was about this Aboriginal girl that came in, and she's trying to help her people as well, and especially the elders, and a lot of them. She's waiting for a grant or something, but what she's doing as well is like really stepping into something new for them. And
Yeah.
it's all the ancestors and all the ancients are coming in. It's like all this, because I suppose especially with the Aboriginal people, they've had a lot of a lot of things to go through,
Mm.
through all the white people coming in and taking the children and all that sort of stuff. And she's got a lot of people, she said, that they can't read and write and do all this sort of stuff, so she's setting up programs. And it's like, what I feel like, it's like everybody's getting empowered. That's
Yes.
the exciting part. It's like really stepping into your power now, and not in a big, like, oh, look at me sort of stuff. It's
No.
just like you just know who you are and what you're here for. And it's like, And, you know, also the other thing too is about people trusting and having faith. That is the biggest key, you know, trying to trust your path, because we don't always see where it's always, you know, we're just like, okay, show me the
Yeah.
way, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing, isn't it?
It is a big, big thing. And a lot of the movement now is that there isn't those pathways open in front of us. We're actually creating it now.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
don't get the full picture and you don't get
No.
exactly how to get there. But
No.
there are steps, as if you trust and just take a step, you'll see the
Yes.
next step and so on. And
Exactly.
it is definitely, trust is a huge thing. It's been that for a few years now in respect to the COVID thing, and all of that
Yes.
drove all that sort of into our awareness anyway,
That's right. Yeah.
trusting and knowing
Yeah.
that if I didn't do that and I just do my thing and I'm
Yeah.
stick with me and
Yes.
what I know is right for me,
Yeah.
your path will be open to you and you'll be all good. It's always all
Yeah.
good.
And that's been the biggest thing for me, is to, you know, build your self-confidence, have trust in yourself, have faith in your abilities, you know, just keep going. And the more you keep doing it, the stronger you become in yourself. Like before I came on here, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting in my head, you know, my heart's going boom, boom, boom. Okay, just come into your heart, Jenny, come into your heart space. And then you never stop me talking, because I'll just keep talking forever. Like when I ring my mum, and it's like, oh my God, Glenn says to me, do you ever let your mum have a
You do.
conversation? But and that's the
Oh,
other
I
thing.
love that about you, though.
People have got to laugh. You know, we've
Yes,
lost the laughter in life. It's become so heavy. The energy's been so heavy, you know, the last 4 years, and just what's happening out there in the world. And, you know,
yeah,
it's like we've just got to find laughter and connection
it
with people,
is.
and just, you know, have some fun, you know, because otherwise,
Yes.
what are we here for? We don't want to be
Mhm.
like just
Well,
stuck.
when you get through, that into that space like you are now with the confidence and you're out
Yeah.
there doing your thing, you're paying more attention to you, which is a great thing. But
Yes.
what happens there too is that we do move out of struggle and hardship into the joy and of living
Yes.
life. And we start looking for more of that fun, even though we mightn't have the energy right now for it.
Yeah.
But it's more in alignment with us now, the
Yeah.
joy and the adventure
Yeah.
and living life, because
Yeah.
we weren't living life. We were
And
having to deal with all the past.
exactly. And the
Mm,
other thing, a lot of people, I say to people, it's like taking yourself out of the world. And,
mm,
you know, there's so much noise out there. And, you know,
yeah.
going into nature, and we're really lucky. We're only like 10 minutes from the beach. So we just drive there every morning and go for a walk on the beach. Like, that's just my
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we were brought up at the beach in New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand's got amazing, you know, our childhood was just the most amazing thing. It was just simple, easy. Everything should be always like that. But, you know, and people get so caught up in the world, and there's so much going on, and people are suffering and struggling. And so it's like trying to bring people, you know, back into their center again, and have that time for themselves, because people don't really take a lot of time for themselves,
No,
you
too
know.
busy, too
Yeah.
busy. And it's all
Yeah.
about survival,
Yes,
like
it is.
actually all
Yeah.
about survival. And there's no room for the joy and the fun and the play and the
No,
laughter and
that's right.
all of that. And then there's the opposite of that, which I see a lot of too, is the people that are spending all their time on pleasure, all their time
Yes.
in with the alcohol and the drugs and the
Yes.
nothing in a sense of joy. And
Yeah.
and that there is still, for me, it's out of balance. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Totally.
it's a sort of, yeah, for me it feels like a running away and an avoidance thing a lot of the
Yeah.
time. But
I think,
however,
yeah, I think the most important thing, you know, the thing I had to really learn was like all the emotional stuff. Oh my God, you know,
yeah,
letting go of all that emotional stuff, and actually looking at yourself, like actually it's like you didn't know yourself. And that's
no,
what this class has opened up, all of that stuff, the fears, like your emotional stuff, all the things that were holding me back, all the things you've been through in life that have held you there. And, you know, all these stories you've had in your head because of your environment. Like, what does Dr. Joe, is it Dr. Joe? Somebody says, you know, because, you know, when there's a traumatic event, our brain takes a snapshot of that and it attaches an emotion, and so it
yeah,
keeps playing out. And of course, you know, we sort of like, we don't sit with our emotions, we don't sit with ourselves, and so everybody's just like quickly diverting around it, like, and we just carry
mm,
on, and then we wonder, oh, how come that happened again? What did I feel like that? And, you replay the same thing because you're not actually clearing that stuff. So, and,
That's right.
not being taught about energy, Mandy, like it was like, I learned
No.
so much. Like everything I've learned has just been unbelievable. Listen to thousands of podcasts, listen to thousands of people, read so much. And most of it, you go and get all your classes and do all that. We also did healing at your place as well, learning all about that. I mean, I remember when Ryan came to one of our classes and I'm like, oh my God, that kid's standing there and he's going, yeah, well, I'm feeling this vortex, and he's talking about vibration. I think I didn't even know what that damn word meant, back in the day. How does that kid know it? So yeah, amazing. The kids today are amazing, aren't they? Like
They
just
are.
tuned in,
Yeah, they are.
and yeah, so that those classes really opened me up. And so now
Mm.
it's like my channeling, my writings, I have no idea what's going to come through. I just go, okay, what would you like to say? And it's like I see the words in my head or something, like at the start of it, and
Yeah.
then it just flows. I don't even, it's just like I've got the pen and I'm just writing.
Yeah.
You know,
And Jenny, what do you do with those writings? Like, are you sharing them out and all
I
that?
do share them on my Facebook, and I've actually got what is it called? A channel of light messages on a Facebook page as well. Jenny Phelan channel of light messages.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So anyone can go on that. But yeah, I've got a lot, and I've written a little book. Like I
Yes.
asked spirit questions and I'd get answers. It was very like quite deep, I remember we went to an expo once and this guy came along and he took the book and he came back the next day and he goes, oh my God, that was really channeled. Because I don't know. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything, I'm just taking the notes basically.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, and I've got a little book and I've got another one that's been sitting there. I've also got a kid's book. It's all about energy and stuff like that. So I need to
Oh,
get those things done. I know I've been
yes.
sitting on those for a little bit. I've got another book too. It's just got headings. That that was the other thing. I loved quotes. When I used to work, I used to go, I used to go to work and they had those little desk calendars and every
Mm-hmm.
day you flip one over and there'd be a quote on the
Yes.
and I'd be the quote girl and I'd go, oh my God, listen to this. Because this is me being philosophical Sagittarian
Yeah.
girl. And I would go, oh, and say the quote and they'd go, oh yeah. Nobody was really interested. I'm going, that has so much meaning. It's amazing. So yeah,
They
and then
would,
so
they would get it.
I would take photos. I take thousands of photos and I used to put quotes on my photos. I think that's when I first started doing your classes. I used to take a
You
lot of
did.
photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Mm.
I'd just get these quotes. I'd just write them. They'd just come through me and I'd put them on my pictures and everything. So yeah, I've always been, yeah, that's my creative side, I suppose. And,
It
I
is,
never used to
totally.
think I had that side, Mandy. And that
Mm.
was just the fear, that little girl fear stuff that used to,
Yeah.
swallow me up.
I've got one of your framed,
Have
uh,
you?
yeah, photos with and it's about family. I can't remember the
I
quote.
know. I think
Yeah.
Ryan's that was taken at McLeod's Bay. Yeah, that was
Yes.
around Rietahi. And I think actually Ryan's standing in that picture. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I just loved it. It was like, because
Mm.
that was after doing your classes, it was like, yeah, that's the creative juice that starts flowing. It was really, really cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a few things I need to get out there and I need to get on with them. So yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I've got books
Yes,
and books of stuff that I've written. I think I used to send you messages. I'd just get this message and I'd just send them
you
on,
did. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it. Love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And how easily it flows for you, because I used to see that with you. It was just so easily coming through you.
Yeah, it did.
Have you sort of ever sat in channel and spoken through like Tabash or
Um,
Asha or anything like that? Have you
I've
done
been
that sort of channeling?
not really, but I've been practicing by myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been practicing. I have. I've started to, yeah, it's more about speaking it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with the writing, it helps me ground my energy and center me, because it's like, so yeah, just with the speaking, I have to try and like ground my energy and center myself. And yes, it's definitely not my mind coming in, but with my writing, I just found it was, yeah, it was a lot
You're
easier
not
to,
engaged. Whereas
no,
in Yeah.
No,
And
it's
that
like,
would,
because I don't even know what I'm gonna. I have no idea. It's not like I'm thinking, okay, what will I write about today? No, none
mm,
of that. It's just
no,
like, okay, guys, tell me what I need to write. Whatever's
yeah,
going to come through. But it's in my mind's eye. I see words.
yeah.
It's always words for me. It seems to be words, that come through. So yeah. But yeah, I'm developing on my own, sitting, channeling, speaking. So, but I did
Good
write
on
something.
you.
I did write a message for today. But yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. But yeah, the
Yeah.
readings at the market are good because I get to meet lots of different people, and I've had a lot of people come back to me too.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
sure they will. And
Yeah,
I think because, you're genuine, Jenny.
yeah.
You're not, you're not trying to control people. You're not trying
No,
to use it as a way of manipulation or anything
no,
like that. And people feel that rapport with you, so
I
they will
know.
go. Mm,
Yeah. And sometimes I have to cut myself off from their energy because I get so pulled into theirs and they're really upset about something. And I feel the tears come up in my eyes, and I'm like, oh God, I just need to cut myself off. I like to
exactly.
keep things simple. I like life
Yeah.
to be simple. I look at nature and it's simple.
Yes.
I just sit there and think about it, think, God, everything's just simple. We are
Mm,
the ones that complicate it. And if we just get back to simplicity, if we just look at nature and what it's doing, I mean, it's out there with the sun shining and it's just doing its thing. Why aren't we just doing our thing? And we're
yeah.
creating all the karma and the drama and everything. And so, yeah,
Mm,
just yeah, but yeah, definitely with the people I really enjoy, and having them, and I get people back and they say, oh, you really helped me with this. And I get a lot of people saying, I just feel so much lighter. Because to me, it's not about predicting your future. It's more about where am I blocked so I can move forward, because that's what it was for
yes.
me. And I
Exactly
get
that.
young girls coming in, like so many young girls. Like I just get so excited when the young girls come in because I go, I know what that feels like to be you. I was exactly that girl, and they get so caught up in all of that stuff, and what you look like and all this, and people, the bullying, all of this stuff. And I go,
Yeah.
no bullying. No, you got to stand up. You got to stand in your strength. You got to be strong. And so I
Yeah.
talk to them about stuff like that. And I get guys too. I get men, I get young guys, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
makes the reading better if people are open. I've had sometimes
Mm,
had people are very closed. And you can see, and I mean, obviously, we're all where we are because of our environment and everything else that's going on in our life.
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you get people who are just a little bit, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to, they just get caught up in their own stuff. And so, it's just trying to let go because, if we're in resistance, we can't move forward, really, can we?
No, and often, I've always been the person in the reading space where
Yeah.
you're not going to be told what you want to hear. Some
Yes.
of it might be, but it's not always going to be. And if it's coming in, I've got to tell you how it is, what it is.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
mightn't be what you want to hear. And often you
Yeah.
hear this, no, 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 I can't relate to that. No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not how
Yeah.
it is. And it's interesting, the times when I've had those sorts of people, they have
Mm.
always come with someone. And
Yeah.
the other people, whether it was a husband, I've had in relation to that lady that I was
Yeah.
just sort of reminding myself about,
Yeah.
her husband was there and he was going, you know, and then
Yeah.
I'd quite come back to him and say, what's going on there? What do you think? And he
Yeah.
goes, yeah, no, I totally relate to that with her. And,
Yeah.
and she was able to break down the
Yeah.
barrier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's been the case with a few other
Yeah.
people who brought their friends or their sister, and
Yes.
there's
Yes.
a resonance there in what
Yeah.
we're saying, and they
Well,
allow that opening up really. It's a
yeah.
good
Well, we don't want to look at our stuff, do we? It's like, no,
thing.
because our ego's like, no, that's not right. And that's
Mm,
just our self-protection, I suppose. But I remember getting readings, and they'd go, Jenny, you've got to go within. I go, how do you do that? I don't know how
yeah,
to do that. And so, yeah, it's practice. I've just had to practice and spend time on my own and learn by myself and,
yeah,
just do all of that. Practice, 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 practice. But yeah, and it's like, yeah, people want the fluffy stuff, and you can't get to that unless you've got this right, and I had to learn all that. So it wasn't like, and I remember getting those readings and being, oh God, am I ever going to move forward? We get in
I
that
know you.
place, hey, it's like, oh my God, I thought I got past that.
frustration in it, eh? I
Oh
know.
my God,
Many
Mandy.
times I was told things too, and I'd think, "Oh my God, really? Am I still got that going on?"
I
And
know.
and you know, and it's really always a good thing to have somebody else look in, because
Yes.
we can sort of feel like, "Oh, yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
done that," but
Yeah.
actually, when it's been pointed out somewhere and
Yeah.
they really are truthful, and you have a good look, there is
Yeah.
something still sitting, or it wouldn't be mentioned.
That's right.
And it's very interesting. I love how we can open some things up for people at times when it's needed.
Oh, it's amazing. And especially when people tell me they feel so much lighter. And then you get the ones that
Yes.
go, could I just please give you a hug? Because I just,
Yeah.
it's like you've just given them permission. I remember one girl came in, it was so funny, and she was so distraught. And she goes, Jenny, I can't stand my job. The woman is really awful.
Yeah.
She's so nasty. She's like, oh my God, I just don't want to be there. Anyway, we started talking about stuff and I started telling her stuff. And anyway, I said, and she said, you know what? I said, well, what did you used to do? And she goes, I was a dog groomer. And she goes, and I said, well, it feels like to me that obviously that situation is going to come to an end because it's like the energy is so potent, it's like really bad. Anyway, she sent me a message. She goes, you know what? I'm going to go. It's like she got fired up. I'm going to go up to Noosa and I'm going to show people my resume, these dog grooming people. Anyway, she went there because she just said, I can't go back to that job. I just cannot do it. Anyway, so she goes to this dog grooming place. They looked at her resume. They said, well, we haven't got a job. But, oh my God, look at your resume. Oh, we're going to have to find something. Do you know what? She got a job, but the next day she was supposed to go back to that old job. And she sent me a text and she goes, guess what, Jenny? She sent me a text. I'm going like this. She sent me a text and she goes, guess what, Jenny? That lady fired me. And I go, yeah, it's like the universe just shut that damn door for you.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? It was like she just couldn't go there one more second. She says, I'm just so
Yeah.
done with that place. And it's sort of like what happens, isn't it? It's like the universe just pushes you out the door, you
It
know?
does, and slams them behind you, and you cannot go back in there. No,
No.
it's no
And
way. And
yeah, and it
there's
can
a
be a bit frightening, but you always know, and it's just taking the step.
it
See, that was the
is.
scary bit for me. It was take the step. Oh my God, the head would come in and be like, oh my God, this is freaking me out. Yeah, and I'd think of all the worst case scenario things that never ever happened, and then I've
Yep.
had to learn to get out of my head and come into my heart and sit in my
Mm.
heart. And that's what I feel like, my heart is leading me now. I'm really listening to my heart. And I just feel so strong in myself and so centered and so good. I mean, doesn't mean things sometimes pull me off, I mean,
Of course, of
it's
course.
life, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's been so much learning, and there's been ups and downs, as we know, and it's been, oh my God, what a bloody ride. Excuse my language. But
I know, but fun though.
oh, I just
Not
would
when
never
you're in
get
it
to this.
sometimes, but like you get to that point where it's like, oh my God, really again? We're going through this again, and
I
there's all
know.
that angst in it. But when you get through it and you
Yeah,
look back in the moments that you get clear of
yeah,
them and you go, oh my God, I can see why I needed that.
that's
And
right.
it makes it easier for you to maybe move through the next thing because and I know that was for me, it was like, I know what's on the other side of these. I don't
Yeah,
know exactly how it will be, but I know that I'm going to feel lighter
that's
and I'm going to
right.
be freer.
Yeah,
And it got to a point where, I always said my haka was bring it on. If there's
yeah.
something to look at, then bring it on for me. I want to look at that. I want to get
Yeah,
clear.
sometimes I used to like go hide for a bit. I'd go,
Yeah.
oh damn, it's back again. Oh my gosh. But
I
anyway,
know.
it's good because then you can, like you can help other people with it. Like I bring myself to my readings. And so I talk about me. I said, look, I was the queen of procrastination. Sometimes I
Yeah.
still am. And it makes them feel better because they're not on the journey by themselves. Like I'm the only procrastinator in the world, or I'm the only one going through this. I said, God, I've been through heaps. And if you talk about yourself to people, then they understand, oh, it's okay. We're all in it together. We're all just
Well,
trying to work our way through things.
exactly. And also too, I remember years and years ago when I was carrying Bobby
Yeah.
and this midwife, she was a bit sharp and
Yeah.
it was like, oh, actually you don't feel like you've got any empathy or compassion or anything, lady.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me when I mentioned this midwife, and somebody said, "Oh, God, her." And I went, "Oh, what's the story with her?"
Yeah.
For one thing, she hasn't got any children, and she's telling these women who are having their babies to stop screaming. And
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
"Oh, okay, that's the energy I got with her." So, and
Yeah.
I changed her.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's that thing. And when people know, like I didn't have confidence in her because she hadn't been
Yes.
through that experience.
Yes.
She was on a different page to me, and
Yeah.
we look for those people. We're drawn to those people. We're
Yes.
always brought to those people that have
Yes.
that resonance with us, that and by us using ourselves as an example and
Yes.
then people do get that. Oh yeah, you know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah, because it's
yeah,
life experience, isn't it?
it
We've all
is.
got life experience, and
Yeah,
you can bring so much of your life into things, and people feel it's just like they go out with a sense of relief. Oh my God, thank God, I feel heaps better now.
yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and it's
Yeah,
really good, and it makes me feel really good. Like I come home and I just think, oh, that's just fantastic. Just to
yeah,
help somebody, because I was
exactly.
that person. I was that
Yeah.
too, and sometimes I still get like that. And
And
it's just yeah,
yeah, and a lot of the time, when you're in those spaces, like I had a client yesterday, and that lady was in the space of being in this breakup, and things were hard, and
yeah,
all of that. But she knew that she had been putting herself away a lot throughout the
yeah,
relationship and wasn't happy in that, but
yeah,
taking that step, like you're saying,
yeah,
it's hard for us. Sometimes we
yeah,
have to wean ourselves out of it before
yeah,
we can actually leap out the door at the
yeah.
end. But when she got the bigger picture, and the
Mm,
bigger picture was around why this was happening, how
yeah,
this was moving her through
yes,
ancestral clearings, how
yes,
it was going to clear the path for her children, how
yeah,
it was all of that part of it, all the bigger picture. She just went, "Oh, okay." Like all
yeah,
of this. And she said, "God, I feel so much lighter. Thank you so much.
yeah,
I really get that now." And there
yeah.
wasn't so much of the angst. And I said, "Don't think you're not going to have your emotional in it, because you
That's
will.
right. Yes,
But if you can just remind yourself of the bigger picture,
I
because
think
it's
that's
leading
it.
you somewhere."
Yeah, and also having the tools for things now.
Yeah,
You've got tools to go to, and like I said, like just delving into all the stuff and learning so much about how the body works and how we create everything. I mean, it's just been like a mind-blowing situation for me. It's just been like, oh my God, we hold
yeah,
energy. Like, oh, I didn't even know about energy. Like I wasn't, you're not taught these things. So once you learn about your body and how the mind, body, spirit is all connected, it's
yeah,
like, oh my God, it's just like, oh, thank God. It just, everything starts to make sense. And it's just like, you feel at ease. You feel at
yeah,
ease, and everything's okay. We are going to go through our ups and downs and things, but I'm going to be okay. Now I've got the tools. Okay, I can get through that. Things have happened. Yeah, I
yeah,
can get through
yeah.
that. And it's just looking at everything and how is this teaching me something, and
Mm,
also having patience with yourself too. I
oh,
think
yeah,
that's the thing. This world is in such a fast paced energy and we're always trying to get somewhere. We've got to get somewhere. And we've always sort of been able to, I mean, we were like that, I suppose you are like that when you're younger and you've got kids and it's just like a blur sometimes. It's just full on.
it is so much.
Hey, and now you
Yeah.
get to that other end. Some lady said to me, she goes, do you think, Jenny, we get a little less tolerant of things as we get over? And I go, bloody oath we do. I know I am.
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
just, because it's just like you've been through so much in your life and you just go, oh, I'm just not going down that path anymore. I just don't tolerate that stuff anymore.
No,
And you just become more into yourself, and you just learn more about yourself. And it's been an amazing journey. Like you say, when you're going through it, it's like, oh my God, this sucks. But then you get on the other side and go, oh, I got through that.
mm,
That means I can get through anything. I really
absolutely.
can. And
Yeah.
and I just know that in myself. I know that in myself now. I have got such a
Yes.
strength within myself. I really have. My dad would be so proud. He'd be like,
I,
yeah,
of
Jenny.
course, of
He would
course.
be. He would be so
Yeah.
proud, because my dad was a very strong person, and he was sort of like, what you see is what you get. And like I said, I think I went to the masculine side, and I've sort of had to bring it back a little bit because I've got to try. But see, Mandy, I was always one of those people that wore those rose-colored glasses, and I
Yes.
just thought everybody is nice and everything is nice. And then I had to learn discernment. That was one of the things I had to learn was like, oh
Yep.
my God, not everybody in this world is like that. I just thought,
No,
everybody's nice. Why aren't we nice to each other? Well, that's not the world we're living
exactly.
in at the minute.
Exactly. And you treat people the way you want to be treated, but they're not always going to treat you the same way. And
No.
that's a huge, I remember that. I remember thinking, oh
Yes.
wow,
Yeah, I know. It's a
like
shock, eh?
actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
a shock.
Jasmine even, years and years, not even too far back, saying,
Yeah.
we have to teach people how to treat us sometimes,
Yes, yeah. And
you
that's
know.
learning those boundaries, eh? And I
Mm,
never had the boundaries because I was always the nice girl. I think in my head I go, no. I go, oh, okay then, yeah, no worries. I'll be like, oh my God. I was too scared to say what I wanted. I was
no,
actually too scared
exactly.
to say what I wanted.
Yeah,
I was just too scared to say that. And it's like, no, actually I've got boundaries now. And then you find those people don't come near you anymore. Or,
exactly.
situations don't happen. It's just like because it's an energy thing, isn't it? It's a frequency thing, you
Yeah.
know, and you can play with that energy thing. I remember there was a guy living next door in one of those flats, a guy and a girl, and they were sort of like, a bit whatever. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't need that energy around my place. So I put up this energy protection around my house, and I was just pushing that energy back out. Do you know that boy moved out, like that boy and girl, because they weren't very nice people. They moved out like within, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. It's just,
Yep.
it's like learning that. Like, I remember driving in the car, we were listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how signs come through,
Yeah.
through from angels and people in spirit and all, and that's how they have to show you that they're there. They'll send signs, like numbers or whatever. And she was talking about this
Mm.
555. No joke. We're driving down to Brisbane, and I just happened to turn like left for whatever reason, and there's a car going past that says 555. I go, oh my God. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And you ask for cars, parking spaces. I go, I need a space to park. Someone just
Yes.
happens to pull out. Because if you believe in it, it's like anything, it isn't, Mandy. If you believe in it, you'll make that happen. And that was the
Exactly.
key for me. I never believed, well, I didn't believe in me for a start. And how can that
Mm.
happen? Because I was in so
Yeah.
much fear and angst and whatever else. And now I'm starting to believe in me. And now I'm starting to believe in everything. It's like these things can really happen. And I think you
Exactly
have to
that.
believe that, I believe I'm connected. I believe I've got guides with me. I believe I've got people who've passed over with me. They show me
Yeah.
things through signs. And, one day I said, okay, Dad, if you're really there, show me a feather then. Come on, put it on the jolly, on the mat out there on the door. And anyway, I walked away and went upstairs and came back down. No joke. There was a feather on there. Where it came from, I have no idea because we've got sort of
You're
a
dead.
veranda that goes out. So how did that feather get there? That's
Exactly.
the mind blowing stuff. I love it. I just think people probably think you're crazy, but I love it and I believe in it. So
You do believe in it, and that's the thing. The more you ask like that, you get
yeah,
shown, and you
that's
do
right.
receive. It's totally that all the time.
Yeah,
I've been kept getting reminded about when I was a kid and how our signs were showing up then, which I didn't really take notice of, but
yeah.
our phone, when you used to have the dial phone and you'd
Yes,
ring and then the
yes,
exchange would number
yes.
please
Oh
and
my
you'd say
God.
what number you had wanted,
Yep,
I'd plug you in.
yep,
Well, our number from when I was a child, all my life as a kid in that section where I grew up for 15 years,
yeah.
was 647.
Right.
And I tell you what, I see that number everywhere, like everywhere, on every car, just about
Wow.
car
Yeah,
license plate, all the rest of it. It's like kept showing up. And I was saying
yeah.
to my girls, oh my God, like, our phone number from when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. I said, it just shows up all the time. Next minute, here's a car. I said, see, there, look at that license plate. So every time we're in the car together, there's a car that has those numbers on
Yeah.
and I'm pointing it out, and my girls are going, oh, like this now, because it's
Yes.
so many, right? And
Yeah.
I said to Spirit, what is it about this number? Like
Yeah.
what actually is it? Like I read numerology, as you know, and it's
Yes.
given to me the way creative I feel gave it to me.
Yeah.
So the numbers have their own
Yes.
frequency for me and what they represent. And when I looked at that, I thought, yeah, well, okay, I can see that. That's all good.
Yeah.
what they were meaning, but is there something more to that? And next minute, that movie Thrive?
Yes.
It came out and it was talk. It's a bit doomy gloomy to start with. It's like, oh my God, it shows you all the stuff that's going on and
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
are
yeah,
going to go through,
yeah,
end
yeah,
days, all the stuff, the
yeah,
Armageddon and
yeah,
Revelations. And then it goes into the part that we're in and the recognition of
yeah,
everything being how it's, the purpose behind it
yeah,
all and what it is actually meaning. And in there, towards the very end, it says, and of course my ears go, oh,
yeah,
is there were 64 designs of creation, and 6 and 4, 64, and then the
yeah,
7 is creation, the number of
yeah.
creation. And so that's my phone number, 647. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, oh my God, there's that phone number.
Yeah,
So when I see that now, and for a very long time now,
yeah,
every time I see it reminds me that I am the creator of my world and that
yeah,
there's all these different designs that I can tap into that
yeah,
create for me into form.
yeah,
And I live that every day. I live it
yeah,
every day.
right.
It's like that is
Yeah.
my 647. That's me.
Yeah, yeah. I know, because I remember doing a reading not that long ago at the markets, and all of a sudden my phone flashed up. I've had this often,
Yep.
and like it just lights up and it's 1155, and I say I think there's a message in there for you because I just see numbers. I'm like, and I
Yeah.
read it. It's exactly what that lady was. She was leaving her job, and there's new things coming, and blah. So it's just confirming, like 111, and
Yes.
they'll still sit there and go, oh my God. So yeah, I think if if you believe in that stuff, if you really believe in it, it's like you can heal your own body, really. We are
Oh,
so
totally.
powerful. And I think that's been the thing. We don't realize how powerful because we think we're not, because society teaches us not to be powerful in ourselves, you know.
Exactly.
And it's
And
like,
I'm,
clearing energy, that's it, clearing all that emotional blockage,
yeah.
because
Yep.
we'll drink, we'll smoke, we'll do all sorts of things so we don't have to feel it or look into it, because it blocks it. But we really
Numb.
want to clear it.
Mm. And
Yeah,
and that's the thing I've been really getting people to be sort of get more comfortable again with is the word power, because we are
yes,
such powerful beings and we fog it off because we don't want to be in
yeah,
case we use it wrong, is a lot of the time
yeah,
people say that to me. And what I feel too is that the word power has been really tainted and distorted in the
yes,
respect of this old world.
yes,
It was used in such manipulative
yeah,
ways,
that's right.
and
Yeah,
was a huge power trip for those
yeah,
people.
exactly.
So this is where I'm it's like claim our power, really claim it, because I know
Yeah,
I'm a very powerful being, and I claimed that years ago.
yeah,
And I've walked that talk, and I know that
yes,
it's been shown
definitely.
to many people, but it's like, how many more? Come on, let's
I
just
know,
claim that power,
I
because it
know.
is powerful, and we can move mountains, like
Yeah,
literally.
exactly. And
Mm.
we're so, because the world is in such a place at the moment, and we're so, we moved away from the spiritual part of ourselves, haven't we? And it's all
Yeah.
gone down that like power, greed, manipulation, materialistic
Yeah.
place. And it's now got to come back into balance because, otherwise, yeah, I mean, who wants to live in that world? It's not a good world. So, and that's why, we're all, clearing and moving through stuff to, yeah, to really step back into our power, to become into such a much better energy of in our world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
i've
Yeah.
I've got a message, Mandy, I wrote. Would you
Yes,
like me to
please
read
read
that?
that. That would
I
be
don't.
so wonderful.
Okay, so I've got this. I wrote it on the 10th of the 10th, actually. So there you
Mm.
go. We are in a great time of change. There have been many challenges one has had to succumb. But through all of this, the promise of a rising up now, not a sitting down. The vestiges that are playing out right now is to allow humanity to awaken to their fullest potential. And without their fullest potential shining, it can leave one feeling incomplete. You will know this feeling. It will rise up in your body. You will either listen to it or it will dissipate. But the feeling won't leave you, because how can it? It is there to speak to you, and by ignoring it, it will flourish. It will just flourish again and again. As you partake in your journey, you will traverse many mountains to see the full extent of who you are. The mountains are the peaks of gold, for without them, you couldn't carry out the fullest expression of who you truly are. You had to get to know yourself through the climb you took up the mountain. Can I go a little higher? And we always say yes to you, always, because we know you can. You only limit yourself through the fear you inject into your veins. But you see that once the step is taken, the fear dissipates. You are free. You are not under your own bondage. This is how your life speaks to you. You are your own oracle. That does not need to anticipate anything. When you allow life to unfold for you, then you allow your spirit to work its magic through the unfolding. There are many of you who are unfolding like the chrysalis into the butterfly. Do not be discouraged as your wings start to open and you learn to fly. The timing is imminent because you needed to get yourself to this place first, so everything is right on time. Do not be discouraged. Your time is now, and as we look into the yonder and beyond, your world is ready for takeoff. Think of it like a plane ready for takeoff. The passengers need to get on the plane first. Once they are on, they need to strap themselves in. Then it's time for takeoff. See, you are all the passengers. You are boarding this now plane, and you are strapping in, ready for takeoff. The destination is the now new earth. This is not a place. It is an embodiment of this new energy you are each carrying for your flight. We had to get you to this place so you could land your plane safely with no baggage, no pun intended. So stay rooted in the knowing that the mountain may have been high, the journey has been long, but look who it has made you into. The destination has not been planned. That is for you to picture and create. We will say that your destiny has long been planned before you came here. It's because you stepped onto the path of becoming you that you get to live your creations in the most highest forms of your own self-flattery. So we leave you with this last message. Never doubt who you can become, because in the doubting, you never find the real you. We are source energy.
Beautiful, Jenny.
Yeah.
That's so, so true, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're taking off.
Yes, taking off, definitely. That's really great.
And we're awakening, people are awakening, and it's all for a cause and a purpose. We're here to do amazing things, and like I said, to make the world a better place. And one of the things I have, it's like I've got this justice bone in me. I just hate seeing people suffer, and I hate it when people are pulling the wool over your eyes, all that stuff out there. It's like they're pulling the wool over people's eyes, and it's like it really and I just have to go.
Yeah.
So, it's like the more that we can get on board and like really step into a new world and like really start to amplify that and bring good things onto this planet, we're going to pass and our kids are coming in, and you want them to have a good planet, so yeah, I'm just doing my bit as you're doing your bit, Glenn's doing his bit. We're all doing our bit, aren't we?
Absolutely.
To make it a better place.
Yeah, and it's worked. I mean, we've already tipped the scale. Pardon me. We have done that. If we look at light and dark battle, we've won the battle. The light's won. It always was going to. But it's not actually like that. If we look at that, the battle's always been within us. So
that's right.
It's that.
And you can see that, like playing like that old world order with all the stuff, and it's like, they're battling at the moment, like everyone's battling trying to get their place. And you just see, oh my God, you just see, the money that's wasted and all that. And you just think, God, it could have gone to other things. But they've got to play it out, I suppose,
They do.
To dwindle.
And look at the battles that were within ourselves before.
Yes.
We were that battle.
Yes.
We are now at least moving on and unplugging and creating something new.
Right.
Those people and that will still, they'll find that place where they can move in on and work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful, Jenny. So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, you can go onto my Facebook. I mean, I can add you as a friend, Jenny Phelan. Glenn and I are doing a bit of a website, with his Menine Way. He's got a page and I'm going to have a page. We sort of do it together so we can, people can come in that way. So we haven't got that quite sorted yet, but yeah, we're just, stepping in that direction. But yeah, you can find me on there on Facebook, or you could send me an email, glenjenphelan@gmail.com. So it's GLENNJENPHELAN@gmail.com. And I'm on Instagram under Jenny Phelan. So yeah, I mean, people can reach out through Messenger or whatever. And yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
That's really cool. And yeah, and when this goes out, of course, we'll tag you so people will be able to click
yeah.
through to you and find you there as well. So all that. But yay, thank you so much, Jenny, for coming in. And
Thank you. It's like, the synchronistic event that happened back in the day with that is
yeah,
just blows my mind, eh? It was all
yeah,
meant to be, and it was leading me down that path. It's like spirit going, no, sorry, you're not supposed to be over there in Western Australia doing that. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So,
yeah,
it's all, Glenn's doing his thing too. So it's like, it's slowly getting there. We're all getting there. So yeah, it's
yeah,
good.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
But thank you,
I
Mandy, so much.
oh, thank you, darling. And honestly, the time, I've thought so much about how grateful I am that you guys came into my life and how
Yeah.
much fun we used to have some fun.
Oh my
We had
gosh.
a few parties, didn't we? And
We had a few
it
parties.
was
They were pretty
really
good
nice.
parties. They were great parties. Healing nights were amazing.
Yes.
All the people. It was
Yeah.
just, it was just, I said to Glenn, it was just like the best time. We just learnt so much, and it was just such a great connection of people. And I've got some
Definitely.
great
All of
friends
that.
in New Zealand, and we go over there often. Glenn loves New Zealand. He always says, I always feel like I'm coming home. He just
Yeah.
loves it. The place is just amazing. So, and I've got
Yeah.
family still there. So yeah, so thank you, Mandy, so much for having me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, beautiful, Jenny. And just obviously you will keep doing what you're doing
I
and
will.
for sure put more of those writings out on
I will.
Facebook and
Yeah, and I'll do
yeah.
my little books and stuff. So yeah, and get my
Yes.
website up. So yeah, beautiful. Thank
Very
you,
cool.
Mandy.
Mwah. Much,
Wow.
much love.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.